Cindy, and I am an energetic stepping and wholeness counselor. And a part of my work is to work with spirit. And I have set up my own YouTube channel a few weeks ago, which is called Blue Lotus, where I share messages from dedicated spirits that I work with. And the other part of my work is energy healing. And I have recently taken a course that is called Sacred Crystal Sound with Patrick. And that is what this interview is about today. So before I start to bombard Patrick with a lot of questions, I will give a short interview or a short introduction about him. So Patrick Moulin is the author of the Little Book of Oneness, which is available on Amazon. And besides being a writer, he also gives private consultations, which he calls Akashic readings. So Patrick gives these private readings in person or over the internet, but also to open groups. He travels between Central America and Switzerland to give workshops. Dolores Cannon quantum healing hypnosis sessions, individual energy sessions, and since this year he also began to train people in the amazing Sacred Crystal Sound method. Hello and welcome, Patrick. How are you doing today?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Cindy. Nice talking to you. Let's shoot.
So Sacred Crystal Sound is not something that a lot of people have heard about or is not really well known at this very moment. Can you describe what it is and what it does?
Yes. Well, first of all, if one looks at just the surface, what you will see in a room, you need a dedicated room for treatments, like as you give massage treatments or other types of treatments. You have a room with a bed or with a massage table. Mm-hmm. Many the practitioners that got trained in this, they do both, but the majority uses massage table because also they can place it more conveniently and they can walk around it if need to. And so on the surface, it looks like somebody is on the massage table. The Sacred Crystal Sound practitioner has their crystals and they may place them around the client in some ways. And those ways they learned in the course how to do this. And that you could say is just on the surface layer how it looks. The client itself doesn't need to do anything. He just comes in, relaxes, and that's it. And then the rest is taken over by, you could say, the higher self. Mm-hmm. And healing and experiencing occurs in that moment. Now, let's go deeper into this.
Yes.
The treatment itself varies between 45 minutes and 1.5 hours. It really depends what the method exactly is for a person and for the practitioner, and also how the client reacts. Maybe the client is, after the treatment, immediately after the treatment, completely gone and in such a deep relaxation state that you would want to let the person there for a while longer. So therefore we cannot say how long it takes. So therefore we say between 45 minutes and 1.5 hours. So that's on the surface. Now let's look at the treatment itself. It's called sacred, it's called crystal, it's called sound, and it's called treatment. Treatment means it's the easiest. There's a method, all right? So let's go back to sacred. What is sacred in this context? Sacred could be meaning so many things. In this context, we say sacred is whole. Just whole. Complete.
For people who do not understand whole, what do you mean with whole?
They have experienced this moment of sacredness, or call it whole. They have had in their lives moments when they were completely amazed. They were completely in awe. This could be triggered by anything. It could be triggered a moment in nature, a beautiful sunrise, and for a flash, they had this moment, everything is right. There was nothing left to desire. It's just so beautiful. Just that. It's very simple. It could be triggered by anything. You could be driving in a bus and suddenly it happens to you and you say, where is this coming from? Ooh, boom. These are flashes. Everybody has experienced these flashes in their life where they feel whole, where they feel complete.
Mm-hmm.
They may be short moments, could be fractions of a second. It could last longer than a second. It could last several seconds. It could last a minute or more. It doesn't matter. Some people may experience this in deep meditation. Some others experience it when they sing, when they dance, when they perform something. They can maybe cooking, maybe gardening, maybe sports. In the field of sports, they would call it to be in the zone. So sacred is that which gives you the experience of being whole. Nothing is lacking. So this is the word that we define in this context, sacred, whole. So that's the first word, sacred. Now crystal and other relating stones is just helper to the method. And the practitioner learns to choose the right kind of stones or crystals, and they will use those in the method. Now, what does a crystal do? If we go back into history, way back at the time of, and I just bring this out, nobody needs to believe this, it doesn't matter. That was an experience I saw that was shown to me in the ancient days of Atlantis and even before. There were methods that were using sound in connection with some material structure, in this case crystals. And they used those to help the vibrations created through sound to be held longer in a room or in wherever locality they are. The crystal itself has consciousness. Everything is alive in nature. If you go to different cultural traditions, shamanic traditions and others, you talk to the so-called knowledge keepers, they will all say everything is alive in nature. Not just humans, animals, or plants, even stones. So everything is alive in nature, and through sacred crystal sound method, the crystal activates, engages. That kind of consciousness is not a human consciousness. We should not confuse this. It's its own consciousness. It assists the process of, call this the sacred crystal sound method. It assists the process of creating an atmosphere in the room that is needed to trigger some responses in the client, in the one who is on the massage table. So what we relate to here is we deal with vibration and fields, vibrational fields. And there's something generated in the room when the practitioner emits sounds in a specific way that he or she learns. The crystals are there and they help, you could say, maintain this atmosphere, and they help to focus that quality onto the client. What happens then with the clients? The clients, or the client's field, you could say, body is also field. The client's field begins to resonate with those vibrations. And then all kinds of things can happen in the person. What kind of things will happen in the person is not something that is in the control of the practitioner. And this is where this gets a bit, you could say, for many people, perhaps a bit fuzzy, because it's one's higher self, one's wisdom, inner wisdom that takes over in the client. And normalization processes begin to occur in their body. Reconnecting processes occur in their body, be it the physical layer of the body, the energetic layer, the emotional layer, the mental layer, or the spiritual layer of their body. Something happens there. And the common experience in the practitioners, in the clients, is that they feel so relaxed. They feel something is happening. And all kinds of experiences may come in, flashes, flashes of their, let's say, early childhood life, flashes of even going back in time in the past, or alternate realities, or subtle energies building up in the room. It doesn't matter what the experience is on that layer, or it could be body-related experiences, normalization processes, feeling very heavy in the body, but something happens in the shoulder that gets re-normalized before it was stiff, or other aspects, organs. It could be on energetic layers, something happening. There's a multitude of possible experiences, and we cannot predict this, what will happen.
Yeah.
So sacred crystals assist the process of the sacred crystal sound method. Sound is the next. What is sound? Why do we use sound in the first place? Sound is something very special, and even if you listen to music, something happens in the body. Depends on the music. Whole physiological process is happening of rebalancing. People feel happier. On the hormonal level, things can happen, renormalization. Immune system wise, things can happen just with music. Plants grow better, it was shown many times. Plants can grow better with specific types of music. So vibration through sound has an effect on the physiology, on the mind, on the emotions, and all the layers of the human body, and even plants in this connection. So the use of sound is very powerful. Now, the sounds that are being created in this method are very special. The practitioner learns to make the sound whole, or you could say learns to empower sound. It's not just sound. Otherwise you can use a recording or a radio or something and walk away and say, hey, this is it. It's not like that. So they learn specific sounds, and not only that, they learn how to create those sounds in a very specific way, and that has to do with their consciousness. So they learn to get into a specific state of consciousness that deals with the heart, with surrender. And in that surrender, there's silence. And in that silence, something happens when sound emerges. If you take an image of this, it's like the ocean, beautiful, still, eternally present, and then a wave emerges. It emerges, it emerges. The sound comes out. The sound comes out, the sound comes out. You hold the sound, and then the wave falls back into silence or into the ocean. There's a specific way, a specific method to do that. And that empowers sound so much that it triggers all kinds of things in the clients. And that is what makes sound whole. That's why it is sacred crystal sound. It makes the sound whole, it empowers the sound. It's like the sound is enriched with the quality of stillness and the quality of surrender. And then this is a different sound. There's different energetics at play, and that makes it whole. So therefore you have the name Sacred Crystal Sound Treatment. And in this way, you treat people. You don't need to be an opera singer. Practitioners, they don't need to know how to sing. They yet can do these sounds. Now, of course, each person is trained. This is a one-on-one training. It's not a group training because each person will find their own stones and each person relates to those stones in a very specific way. And that determines what kind of sound comes up. There's no same sounds in anybody. And therefore, they have their own individual sounds that they are being taught or that they discover. And the course is all about that. It's like locating the stones, how to do that, then finding the sounds, how to do that, how to empower them, and then the actual method of how do you translate that into a treatment modality. These are the three elements that practitioners learn, and the clients that just lay back and get the benefit. Does that make sense?
That makes totally sense and sounds wonderful. So for the ones who have not experienced or have not done a course like this, so the tones that people find that they will need to produce, they practice this with you. The tones relate to the crystal.
Yes.
So how do you, when people would like to do this course and they wonder like, how can I find the tone of the crystal? How does that work?
Yes. Once the crystals are found, the practitioners enters into literally a relationship with each stone. They feel the stone. There's no randomness here. They feel the stone. And in that moment when they feel the stone, there's something happening. There's a resonance happening. The stone itself becomes activated due to the, you could say, power of attention of human consciousness. The stone becomes activated. Something happens there. So therefore, some interaction begins to happen. Now, this doesn't mean that they start to have big discussions with the stone. It's not like that. It's all on a different language level, you could say. It's not human language, it's sensing, feeling level. And they know what's going on between each other.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. There's a relationship building up with each stone. And this is unique with each stone and with each person. So that's one thing. The other aspect is the actual sound that fits, or you could say encapsulates that relationship. That is taught in the course. What kind of sound is this exactly matching that relationship? That's the ingredient that is being shown in the course. And it is not like this that I tell them, okay, your sound is this and this. It's not going to work. No. Because I don't know in advance either what stones they will discover. And once they have the stone and we do the course, we go through each stone and I show them a method of how to discover the sound that describes their connection with the stone. And it's beautiful. It's just astonishing what they come up with. Each person brings out totally different sounds. So therefore, the sound profile of each practitioner is different. And in fact, let's say if you have several practitioners in town, for the client, this is great because they say, wow, I love the sounds that Cindy produces, I go there. But now this time, I want to have the other set of sounds that I would like to hear. So they go to the other practitioners so they can choose. It's actually a great thing. Great thing. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
I tend to go a little bit off, but I hope it answers.
No, this works. So the next question is, you already answered this. So how can people find you when somebody listens to this video and say, Well, I am very much, I really would like to work with crystals. It is something that resonates with me. Something comes up in my within myself and say I would like to do this course. How can they find you?
Yes, that's a good question. I asked that myself also. How do I find myself? Anyway, let's get back. Okay. Finding. Yes, it's very simple. It's very conventional. Email, just email me. I'm traveling between Central America, like El Salvador, Guatemala, and other countries, and Europe, Switzerland for that matter, mostly. And uh, therefore, I evolved a formula where people can still do the course, and the course is structured in such a way that most of it is done online. And perhaps in the future, I may do it 100% online, but at this stage, it feels still right to do the last part of the course in person. So what does that mean? If somebody wants to really get to know a bit more and would like to do this course, is interested to do the course, they should write me and we can give the email address afterwards and maybe the
Mhm.
website. And there's some information also listed there. Things like this, also on Facebook. They can see already the practitioners who trained already. They can go visit them and get the experience firsthand how it is. But if they say, okay, I want the course, this is how it works. There are 8 lessons, just 8, maybe 10, depends on the person how fast the progress is. But let's say between 8 and 10 lessons. And these 8 lessons, you could say, they are all online. We do
Mhm.
this online either in Zoom or Skype. And I set individually with each person who I train. It's a one-on-one training. So I set the time for a lesson number 1, lesson number 2. And each lesson is spaced apart at least a week. Because in between, they get homework. They have to do some homework, practice, etc. And then we get into lesson 2, and then homework, and then lesson 3, homework. So 8 lessons online. So how long is a lesson? Between 75 minutes and 1.5 hours, roughly. It's not quite on the minute, so it's about that. And then the last 1 or 2 lessons, so let's say if it's 10 lessons, so the last 1 or 2 lessons will be in person, meaning we meet. This could be in Europe or in Central America. So they would have to be willing to travel for that last part. And there is a formula that one could conceive. Let's say there are enough practitioners that are in the training that are from the same region. We could do it the opposite. Let's say there are 5, 6 people training in one locality.
Mhm.
Then instead of them all flying over, maybe one can arrange that I fly over and graduate everybody in the same spot, in the same city. So that would be an alternative version of this. But essentially, it's about 8 lessons online. And then there is the last part, 1 or 2 lessons where they graduate. What does that mean? They perform treatment on people, and I sit in the back, and it's not that I will interact with them. I will just be far away in the corner like a mouse looking, and they will not see me. They do their treatments. So that's all. And then they have their method. And once they have their method, it is recommended afterwards, after 6 to 12 weeks, to have online. One can meet again for another lesson to review and
Mhm.
perhaps fine tune further their sounds if it's needed, or their method if it's needed. We just review. So to stabilize further their practice. And then a second one is recommended after 9 to 12 months. And then they can look back. Okay, how did it go after a full year? How did I do? And perhaps still more questions come up and more fine-tuning perhaps is needed. So it all helps to stabilize further their practice.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, after they took the course, they can go ahead. If they wish to meet faster, yes, they contact me, and we can always set up in between a lesson. That's okay. So that's the course structure. It's very simple. They can do it from their homes, and as you see, if we have a weekly rhythm, it takes about 2.5 months to do the whole thing. If we will go week by week,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore, it's not this kind of eternal long courses. No, because simplicity is what counts. It's not rocket science. It's very simple, the whole thing. And this is where the strength is. The method is based on simplicity. The method is based on let nature do the work. Or let spirit, self, higher self, what else? What else we have there? All these names, the wise aspect of the person do the work for us.
Mm-hmm.
We just facilitate, we trigger the process, and that's all.
Yeah.
So this utter simplicity is the secret to this. And it's wonderful, it's beautiful, the people are amazed, they don't know what's coming when they get the treatment. It's so different, it feels so ancient. So that's how it works. So anyone who is interested in this, just contact me, and I will check on my side. I will scan the field. It may sound funny, but I scan the field, and I get the intuitive stream, call it, if this is the right thing for the person, and then we just go ahead.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Does that answer the question?
Yes, and I'm very happy that this course is only taking 2.5 months.
Yes, it's by the way, anyone who takes that course, that practitioner course, this is also to be understood as some spiritual process of awakening, reconnecting further, because something happens to the practitioner. They feel, many have said, they feel more centered in their life. They feel more at peace in their life since they have started the toning with the stones. It's an amazing thing also for the practitioner. So it's not a one-way process that the practitioner helps the client. In fact, just doing the process for the client helps the practitioner as well. It's an amazing thing. And some people have told me, some mothers who have children, actually the children react to this when the mother is toning in a room, and they get affected. They start to calm down, and then they feel the whole house is more at peace. So it has some remarkable effects on the family too. And it's not that they wanted to create this effect, it just happened that way. So there's something at play there that is getting activated in the practitioner, and it's really beautiful. So just to mention that it's not a simple method. It's a simple method, yes, but not simple in the sense that nothing else happens.
Yeah. I just got a question. So when people, for example, clients come over to a practitioner and say, I've got a specific problem. I would like you to help me on this.
Yes.
It is not so that we as a practitioner are in control of what is going to happen, right? It is the body of the client that is picking up.
Yes. Now that's a good point. We are not, quote, healing people.
Yeah.
We are not healing people. We are toning. as a practitioner, you tone. What happens is that the client gets so relaxed, and we mean really relaxed. It's not just simple sleep. It's way beyond.
Yeah.
What happens is something gets steered, some recalibrating, some rebalancing gets steered in the body of the client. So it's the client himself who starts self-healing processes. And the sky is the limit. We don't know how far the client goes in this, how much the client, subconsciously so perhaps, allows this opening to happen, allows this reconnecting to happen. We don't know how far the client goes in this process. This is his, you could say, his path of opening, his path of reconnecting, and his path of healing, if he needs healing. So as a practitioner, one is not concerned with healing specific things, because this is not a traditional process where you go to the point value of healing the liver, healing this, healing that. This is a classical perspective. It doesn't work that way. The quote wise aspect takes over and starts healing processes in the client, whatever is needed first. We don't see the big picture from as a practitioner, what is really needed for the client. That makes it simple again for the practitioner. You don't need to break your head. Can I heal this? Or is this really the most important thing to heal? Is there something else hidden? You don't need any of this. And that makes it also beautiful, because the practitioner is essentially not concerned with these aspects. The client doesn't. The practitioner is concerned with one and only one thing.
And then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Bring yourself into that state of sacredness. Bring yourself into that state of silence and surrender and produce the sounds. That's all what the client needs to be concerned with. The practitioner needs to be concerned with, nothing else. The rest is taken care. This is very ancient wisdom, you could say, and it makes it so much simpler for everyone. So from the client side, when they come, have no expectations, just go and relax and see what happens. Sky is the limit. Just relax. From the practitioner's side, say everything is possible, but it's not me who's doing the healing, it's you. I just tone and produce this beautiful environment, this beautiful atmosphere from where anything can happen. You're truly cosmic. We all are cosmic beings, and we can change anything, any second in our life. How much we want to change is our process, our readiness for it. That's an entirely different story. This method just sets triggers to have that process. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I just want to add that, you know, the more relaxed the client is, the better it is for that person. I've seen it myself when I've treated clients, and I recently had one who was so relaxed that she went into like a trance state, which is like, I think, the best state for a client to be in.
Now, in that moment, when you say that, did the person have this rapid eye movement? Yes. Or it was just, okay. Yes, and then something happens there. That's very nice. It's a very good observation. Yeah. They also report that they feel very heavy in the body, that they cannot move.
Yeah.
It's because they are totally relaxed. And that's very special. Imagine just by producing some sounds. On the surface, Just somebody stands there producing sounds and they're gone. That's quite something. They're not normal sounds.
Yeah. Yeah. So next question. Oh, sorry. Do you want to add something more?
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the next question. What is the outlook in the future for this method? Can we, as practitioners, also treat several people at once?
Yes. I haven't talked much about this, but maybe it's the time for it. What I was shown with this method, and mind you, this method has been around for some years. It's just that I haven't started to teach people yet. When I say it has been around for several years, I've seen it for several years and trained just one person, and then I was looking, how does it work?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it works. Okay, very good. And all kinds of experiences started. So I was a bit hesitant in coming out with this, but now it's out. Now the next phase of this is the practitioners can actually come together and treat one person. What I was shown is 2 to 4 people can treat one person. So they can combine 2 people, 2 practitioners treat one person, or 3 practitioners treat one person, up to 4. Now, the method for this is not a standard method. At least at this stage, it's not a standard method because their own individual training can vary so much that when they combine, there needs to be a specific way to combine their methods. And this is shown or is learned. They can learn that even online in a couple of lessons. So if you have, let's say, another person that you would like to pair up with to treat people, then what you do is, as a practitioner, you contact me, and then we set up time, 2 lessons, for 2 lessons. And then in the first lesson, we bring out the method for this combined treatment, like the method that fits you too, specifically you too with your method. And then you practice on a few, and then the second lesson is one comes together, review, and then there's questions perhaps, and answers, and fine-tuning of the method, and that's it. It's no more needed for this. It's very simple. So then you have the method to combine with another person, or 3 people, or 4 people if you have come together as 4. So imagine how powerful that is if 4 people produce sounds in the rooms, empowered sounds, sacred sounds in the room, performing on one person with all the stones present. It's awesome. It's just beyond. So that still comes. You could say there's one drawback to this method at this stage, and that is I was shown that I need to train only one person at a time, because each person is unique, has its own crystalline field, and has its own interaction with the stones, and unique method comes. Mind you, these methods do not vary so far apart between the practitioners, but there are variations. And so I can only train one at a time, and that is a bit a slow process, you could say. So how many can I train in a year? It's not that many, but it gradually will grow. And it's not meant that you have millions of practitioners anyway, but it is something that it is for those who truly feel the soul calling, that this is what they need to do. And then they are on a track that is amazing. So the other outlook that was shown to me is there is a way where several practitioners come together, minimum 4, up to 10 or 12 at this stage. Perhaps later more, but at this stage 10 or 12, where they learn a specific method to help actually the collective consciousness of a region or a city, a town. And that will only be given to those who start to do this professionally. Meaning, let's say they are practitioners of other methods, and then they say, yeah, sacred crystal sound, let's do that too. This is a great thing. So that means they are professionals. They offer this already. Then they could learn this additional method. And mind you, I don't know yet how many lessons that will take, but I think it will be just maybe 2 or 3 lessons, short up to 4, no more. And what happens is they learn this practice to affect collective consciousness of the city and infuse it with coherence. Infuse it with, let's take another word, harmony and peace and love, surrender, clarity, creativity, all of that combined. If you had to take a word for this, all of that, like it fits in it, it's a complicated word or a simple word. Let's call it coherence.
Yeah.
And these practitioners would need to commit to do that at least for a year on their own. Nobody will check them. I train them, they're on their own. It's like that. Yes, I can assist them in questions. We always can connect, and but it's a responsibility. If you aim at collective consciousness to help it, then do it. It's not just for the fun. It's a responsibility. One needs to be serious about it. So that method is down the road. It may come up with sufficient practitioners in a locality. We can set it up, we can do it. And it's a beautiful thing. It's an old thing that is resurfacing again. So that's going to be very special, actually. To be able to hold these energies, so many, it's awesome. So this is where it stands with a collective practice of this method. So this is what is down the road. And by the way, to team up with other practitioners, let's say one person wants to learn the method so that they can practice together with another person on clients, that exists already. So that can be taught already.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward actually to see this happening in the future, because I think there are a lot of places here in the world who will need to go back into like a harmonic, peaceful, friendly environment.
And so many people work already with crystals. If they empower it with sound through a method, it's just amazing. It's just one step further. Not just placing them nicely here and there. No, you go further in this, and it's beautiful. They can reach on their side so many people.
Yeah. I've got one question. So when we, as practitioners, treat a client, it is not so that after one session you're done. You might need to come back, every week, or maybe in the 2 weeks, or maybe every month. When we're going to do this for a certain city or for a certain place, how did you receive the information for how long we will need to do this, or how often do we need to practice with the group of practitioners?
You mean the practice, the group practice to affect collective consciousness?
Yeah.
Like to infuse coherence. That will be shown when they take the course.
Okay.
How often they have to do this? This is not something that they will be doing it every day for several hours or something. It's not like that. It doesn't work like that. It's not quantity, it's the quality. It's the quality of performance that does it. Now, how often? That depends also on the region.
Okay.
So this will come out when the practitioners form and they materialize, you could say. They come together, and then there's this, let's say they come from a city. Let's take a city, just for the fun of it. Well, what jumps up is Cincinnati and Baltimore.
Okay.
Or New York, any of these. Or let's jump over to Europe. This could be Zurich, it could be Milan, it could be Milano, or it could be Paris, Berlin, it could be anything. Well, let's say they come together. We are from Berlin. Then they come together. The method shows how often do you need to do this. Well, it's quickly shown how much that the city needs it. So the more stressful a place, you could say, well, the more they need it.
Yeah, it's logic, yeah.
Now, how much that is determined individually. But it's not going to be like this that they are ending up only doing that. No, it's not like this. It's just an additional thing like this. And it will not take that much time either. Again, it's not quantity, it's the quality, it's setting the impulse. And the impulse is so powerful that you don't need to do this all the time. You don't add to it further. Like this.
Thank you. Now I've got one more question.
Yes.
Are you the only person in the world who is able to give this course?
That's a good question. Actually, I don't know. But I don't know of anybody else who is doing it. Yeah. This came up maybe I should say how this came up actually, this method. Years ago, I was giving an Akashic reading. Akashic reading means people come together and ask me questions. I'm in a specific state. And in that state, the information just comes up. I never go and look for any answer. It just comes. It's a beautiful state. It's a bit like a toy shop or a library. It feels very innocent and simple. It's beautiful. So what was shown to me, well, actually the question what was there was, somebody asked, what was a healing modality in those ancient days of Atlantis, and perhaps even before, like more ancient civilizations like that. So you could say many thousands of years ago, not just 5, 6, 10. How was that there? So they asked me, and what came up is, initially they don't needed anything because they were complete. But they were also, in terms of their body, it was not so dense body. It was still, this may sound a bit funny, but what was shown is their body was filled with more light. They were less dense, more light. They were whole, they were healthy. They didn't need any treatments. But as the process of entering this 3D physical realm continued to densify, their body became more dense and something happened. There could be accidents, the physical body might get hurt through some whatever accident, fault accident. So something happened on their consciousness layer and their physical layer. So treatments, some corrective mechanisms started to come in, and they were cognized in those days by a few who were called this very much connected. They access a memory field and they know exactly what needs to be done. So what came up was sound. In those days, they merely needed to produce a sound, specific sounds. That's it. whatever cut was there or thing, it would heal almost instantly. Body was still not so dense.
Yeah.
And as the process of densification continued, something else was needed. And this is when physical objects were also considered. Yes, so in the third stage, what happened was objects were being considered. And what this means is the use of crystals was included. Crystals and sound. This is where this whole thing started. This is what was shown to me. And then from there, a method evolved. But I didn't know at that time that this is a method just for one person. I didn't know more about this. So I passed on this method, and then the person who practiced this was very happy with it because the results were phenomenal. But it was also credit to that person to take this method because it's so kind of initially felt as far out, and that person had you could say the openness, the belief, the faith to just do it innocently, and it was amazing what the clients had experienced with this. So ever since this person is practicing it is now 4 years, and only this year, since actually late last year, I've started to come out now to train other people in this. So that is why I don't know who else had that vision, and it's theoretically it's possible that somebody else was given the same vision of those ancient days and has evolved the method.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm concerned, from my perspective, I could say, yeah, I'm the only one that I know of who is giving this thing. So yes, it's pretty unique. And once you have learned it in this time, you can be pretty sure you're the only one in your region who practices this. There's nobody else who has that. So there's no absolute terms to this, but you can be pretty sure. It's quite unique. And therefore, you have something unique to offer to your region, to your town, to your city. People will come to you once they know what this is. So it's a wonderful thing. And does this answer the question?
That answers the question, yes. Thank you very much. Before we go to close this interview, this very nice conversation that we have, do you have any last words that you would like to share?
Yes. Let me check. Yes, for those of you who hear this and feel the call or feel resonance with this information, just do it. Just do it. Don't hold back. Just go for it. And you will be amazed with this method. You will love it, and your clients love it because they wait for you to get this training. This is not random, they wait already. It's a field effect. If somebody is feeling the call to get the training, to learn this, to embrace it, it means already the clients are formed. It's like entanglement, you could call this.
Yeah.
Just do it. And this is like another way of being of cosmic service, like that. It's beautiful.
Thank you very much, Patrick, for this interview and for explaining to us what you're doing. especially in regards of the sacred crystal sound treatment. For the ones who are listening to this video, and I will leave the comment field underneath the video open for you to ask any questions if you have any, or yeah, I will pass them on to Patrick, or you reach out to him directly, and maybe we can make another video in the near future. Who knows? I will also include Patrick, his website, but also the Facebook page where you can find more information, and you will also see feedback from the practitioners and the clients. Thank you very much, Patrick, and for you listeners to watch and listen to this video. Thank you very much for your time, and just want to give you a big hug. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cindy. That was wonderful. And thank you all who just came to listen. Beautiful.
Thank
All
you.
the best.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.